So what you're going to do for this project is you're going to create faces using a variety of emotions. So here you have an example of 3 different emotions that this artist ended up making. You're also going to watch his video, which is going to be located in your steps. Okay, and so it's not long, and by watching this will help you to figure out what it is that you should draw in Photoshop. So here I have my Photoshop document, and I've named it Feral Cartoon. And what you're going to do is you're going to check out your tablet, and then you're going to get the tool set up so that it reads like what you expect when you're in the art room. So I will do funny. So I did layer, new layer. I named it funny. And then I have my B for brush. Up here I want to use a hard edge brush so it looks like a pencil. And then I lowered the opacity down, so anything between 20 to 30% is good. And the reason for that, and then you want this checked on because you're working with a tablet, and the reason why you want to do that is when you use pen, the stylus, if I keep going over the same area multiple times, you'll notice that it becomes darker, like when we use a pencil to sketch in the art room. So again, the more I go over a certain area, the darker it becomes. So what you're creating to start is simply a rough draft layer, and then after that you will go over it so that it becomes a more clean outline like you see in a cartoon. A couple things with the stylus pen is if I move it around my canvas, like you see, it does create that pencil-like effect. I can make my brush larger or smaller depending on what it is that I want to work on. And you do not need to press hard on the plastic nib, because if you end up doing that, you could damage it or wear down the stylus quicker than it needs to be. When students get frustrated with the stylus, it's because of the way how they hold it. So you'll notice that there's a button on your pen. If you tuck that button or turn that button into the center of your hand instead of facing out, then you probably won't click it. If you make sure that your thumb and index finger are placed below the button or above the button, then you won't click on it. Of course you can click on it, but what it's doing is it's acting as a right click of your mouse, and it's causing more functions to come up that maybe you don't necessarily want to see or need to see right now. The other thing that's frustrating that I found with students when they first start working with the stylus is if they just press and hold down in one spot, this pop-up menu occurs. If you don't want that to happen, then all you simply need to do is just kind of gently move your mouse around. If you, again, just press and hold in one spot, it creates this brush thing, and then you just quick click out. Okay, so that's one thing. But yeah, I would love for you, to start using your stylus like you use your mouse. But if that's too hard for you right now, and all you simply do is draw, that's okay too. All right, so let me select all, delete that, Control D, deselect, get my brush to be the size that I want. So I want it to be smaller, so it's these nice thin sketchy lines. And then just like when you're up in the art room, you don't do just one line and you're done and it's perfect. Instead, you want to do multiple lines because what that does is overall, one of these lines is going to create that perfect line that you want. So again, just quick, loose, sketchy lines. Don't get too hung up on perfection. This is your rough draft. Because I'm doing funny, I'm going to have, these larger eyes. And like he said, it's kind of fun to have one eye a little bit bigger than the other. So you'll notice here I'm darkening up this line so I recognize that this is going to be the eye size that I want here, and maybe a smaller eye size here. Because he's funny, maybe I'll have some expressive eyebrows where he's laughing, nose. And because it's funny, I want him to have a nice big smile. Again, this is a cartoon, so it's not proportionately correct. So we can have a really large mouth, really large eyes, and all that is okay. And then maybe I have some teeth here, ears, little ear over here. All right, and then his eyes. And then, you know, think about the hair, you know. What do you want it to look like? Do you want it to be curly? Do you want it to be straight? Is it bangs? Is it long hair, short hair? And kind of think about the emotion too. You know, if this is somebody that's really stressed out, then maybe their hair also views as being stressed out, meaning, you know, like zigzag hair or something like that. Okay, so here I am. I've created my sketch here, and then what I would do is I would go over everything with my brush to start making it look cleaner. All right, so I'm going to turn off this layer so you can see what I've been working on. So I have this funny guy, I have a mad person, and I have a sad person, okay? The only one that I ended up working on, I expect you to work on all three, but the only one that I ended up working on was the funny. So here, as you can see, all right? And the way how I ended up doing that is, let me make a new layer so I can show you. You shouldn't draw ovals and circles in Photoshop, right? The brush tool does that for you. So I'm putting my opacity up to 100. I'm leaving it on black. I also want it to be a hard edge. And I'm going to use my bracket, which is next to the letter P, and I'm clicking once. So there's my black circle. Now I'm going to go to E, Eraser. I'm going to make sure that that is a hard edge, which it is. And I am going to get my brush to match the size of the outline. And that is 600. When I use the brackets, it goes to 500. That's too thick of an outline. So what I want to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to guesstimate maybe 575 will look good. That still looks a little too thick, so I'm going to do 580. And I think that looks okay. I'm getting that in the center. I'm clicking once. Now I have that nice outline, and I'm going to do Control-T for transform. And then I'm going to scale and slightly rotate this so that it matches my outline. Again, if you want to make adjustments with your final to your, from your rough draft to your final, that's okay. I do like the shape of his face, so I do want to keep it the same. So there I have my outline. Now I am not going to only have my face on one layer. I'm also going to create my eyes on their own layer, and I'm going to continue to build, and you'll see in 1 second. I'm just going to do this one more time so you guys can see. Again, I'm getting my brush to match the size of what I want to draw. So I have an eye, one click, E for my eraser, getting that small 2. That's too thick of an outline from 100 to 125. I'm looking up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try 120. And that's too thin, so 115. I think that looks nice. And now do you see how I'm starting to create, let me get here to turn this off so you can see, I'm starting to create that outline. All right, so I'm going to turn off these two. So this is what I created. Here's my face. I did an eye color, eyes on top. Actually, let me zoom in too so you guys can see. All right, eye color on top, behind, sorry. I did my hair and eyebrows on one layer. I don't know if that's really a good thing. I think I probably forgot. So try and get everything on their own layer. There I have my mouth. I painted white teeth on top. And then to get kind of these different colors, right, I blended using the mixer brush to get the different colors there. And then I created a nose, and I typed happy on the bottom. And we'll talk about how to do text in class. If you want it just to be Arial Black, which is kind of a standard font, that's fine. But if you want to type each emotion and kind of have that motion be represented through the font, that would be good. For instance, if you did happy or fun, you could click A. Up here is all the different fonts. And it's really cool because not only does it say the font that it is, but it shows you an example. But you could click like a funny, happy, easygoing looking font. And I'm trying to look and see if I can find one. And then, you know, if it's mad, that can be a really loud, bold font. Oh, here, that looks happy. There you go. So there's your happy font. And then, yeah, once you finish that one, then you would draw your next one with a rough draft and then outline it so it looks nice on top. And then your next emotion. So I did happy. It could also be excited, mad, and sad. Those were my emotions. All right.